If you're struggling to get more customers for your home services business and you're not on Google, well, you might as well be invisible. But it doesn't need to be like that. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do SEO for your website so that you can get found by potential customers. Today, I'm going to show you our 6-step process that you can use in order to get your website ranking at the top of Google. I'm going to clearly lay out all of the steps that you need to take so that you can implement these strategies for yourself. If at any point you would like some help with it, or if you would like us to do it all for you, then please do get in touch. There's a link in the description below. If you're watching this video, I'm going to assume that you know what SEO is, the process of getting your website to the top of Google. There's one reason that I love SEO, and that is because in my experience, it tends to drive the best customers. If you think about it, the customer that is searching for your service or product is going to be the best type of customer because they're going to stick around longer, they're going to convert better on your website, and because they've already decided that they need your service. So without further ado, let's dive into this 6-step process. Step number 1 of any good SEO strategy is keyword research. This is the process of understanding what do people actually search on Google in order to find your type of business. Doing solid keyword research will help us position our website for the right terms. After all, there's no point in building a website and having a strategy around a keyword that nobody searches.
I mean, what is the point?
The easiest way to do keyword research is using a tool called Ahrefs. They have lots of data around what people are searching in Google. The way to go about it that I recommend is go to the Keywords Explorer, type in the term for your industry, and then click search. Then once that's loaded, head over to matching terms. This will then give you a really large list of all of the keywords that contain your service or product. Go down here and select all of the keywords that match your service. Eventually, you'll have a big list of lots of keywords that are very relevant to you. So you want to put those in a spreadsheet, with one column being the keyword and another column being the search volume. And that will give you a good idea of all the different keyword options that you have that you can optimize your website. Now, save that and we'll come back to that a bit later in one of the other sections of the video. Step number 2 is competitor research. Wouldn't you love to know all of the numbers behind your competitors? Well, with SEO, you can actually do that. You see, there are certain tools that we can use, such as Ahrefs, that show us all of the SEO metrics that our competitors have, such as how much traffic they're getting, their backlinks, all of their strategy. So we can really use that to our advantage and it will help inform our own strategy. The way that we can do our competitor research is we can go back to Ahrefs or another similar tool and we can type in the URL of our competitor. I'm just going to pick a random business here just to demonstrate. So we go to Site Explorer, we type in the URL, and then that will give us all of the metrics of this business. So here we are, we can see all of the different metrics. Now, a lot of this might be confusing for you, but I'm going to run through it one by one. So first of all, we can look at the traffic that we're getting. So this business is getting about 30,000 organic visitors per month to their website. So if this was a top competitor of yours in the niche and, maybe they're number 1 for a lot of the terms that you're going after, then you'll know the type of opportunity that you have by implementing SEO. You can even work backwards to try and work out, okay, how much revenue are they getting from this SEO? So if they've got 30,000 traffic, you could assume a conversion rate, depending on the type of business, maybe somewhere between 2 to 15%. And then you can work backwards on how many of those leads convert and the average order value based on everything that you know from your business and your website. Now, what we want to look at next is we want to go to the organic keywords. Here we can see all of the keywords that they are ranking for, and we can use that to our advantage. So we can add any keywords that we've missed in step 1, our keyword research, and add those additional keywords into that document. Once we've done that, I'd recommend going to top pages. And for now, what I'd like you to do is just note down how many pages they have and also take a quick look at all the different types of pages that they have. Do they have service landing pages? Do they have blog pages? And just get a rough idea of what exactly they have on their website. This will give us an idea of how many pages that we might need to create on our site as well. And note this down, you'll understand how many backlinks that you'll need to be building. So for example, this business, they have about 453 backlinks. Now, I know that seems like a lot, but not all of those backlinks will actually be good. And in the backlink section of this video, I'll go into exactly how we can audit that and understand how many backlinks we need to build to our website. But for now, we just want to understand how many referring domains do they have going to their website. Finally, the last thing that you want to do if you're running a local business is type in your main keyword and then go down and look at this section. This is what we call the map pack or the local search results. And you can see here that there are 3 businesses here, and they all have different reviews, a review score, and a number of reviews. We want to note that down because that's going to inform the targets that we have for the amount of reviews that we need to get. So once we have all of that information, note it down in your spreadsheet and repeat that for all of your main businesses that you have in your niche. Now that you've done your keyword research and your competitor research, you're ready to start working on your website. That's step 3, on-page SEO. Now, please don't get scared if the on-site side of things sounds a bit technical. I'm going to break it down and make it as easy as possible for you. Alternatively, if you're already working with a web development agency or freelancer, you can use what I'm saying and give the instructions over to them. We want to go back and visit our keyword research. Now, for our key services or areas or products, we all want to create dedicated landing pages for these keywords. Now, what a dedicated landing page looks like is usually something fairly similar to your homepage, but all of the content and the keywords on that page are really focused around that core keyword to do with your service. So what do you want to do? Well, the best practices are that you should put your main keyword on these pages, and they should go in these locations. The first is it should be in the main title of your page. The second is it should be in the main heading of the page. Third, it should be within the first 100 words of the content on your page. It should also be in the URL. And then finally, you want to include it roughly 1 to 2 times every 200 words that you keep writing. However, there is a caveat there. You don't want to just force your keyword into the writing. You want to make it sound natural and only include it where it makes sense. Now, a lot of this can actually be simplified by using what we call correlation tools. So correlation tools look at the results for your keyword that are on page 1. They'll do a lot of calculating and magic in the background, and then they'll tell you exactly how many times that you should include your keyword, where you should include it, all of the other similar keywords that you should include within your writing. And then it gives you a score that you can use to evaluate your writing. So some of these tools are Surf for SEO, and I like to use it just to make this process really easy. Finally, the last thing I'd like you to do on your on-page is include an FAQ section. So you can get FAQs by, number 1, thinking about what are the common things that your customers ask you when they inquire about this service. And then number 2, if you go to Google, search in your main keyword, then scroll down to the people always ask section. So you'll often see that there are extra questions that Google puts within the search results. Include those questions and the answers to those on your page. Now, we want to repeat this and create dedicated landing pages for all of the main services, areas, and products that we provide. And once that's done, we can move on to the next step. Step number 4 is essential if you want to get found as a local business. We're going to talk all about how to get found in the local map pack here. The first thing you want to do is sign up for your Google My Business profile. Very simple, just follow the online instructions and make sure that your profile is completely filled out. Don't skip anything. Make sure that you have your categories, opening hours, proper descriptions. Make sure that it is 100%. Then also go ahead and add some photos to your profile. Not only will this help with your ranking, but it'll also help customers see your business, understand it, and be more likely to call or click on your website. Once that's done, the next stage is to start getting reviews. In our competitor research, we found how many reviews that we'd want to be getting. So for example, if this was our business that we were trying to rank for, we would understand that we need to get somewhere between 60 and 160 reviews. Now that might seem a lot, but over time, you'll be able to reach those levels. There are 2 main strategies that I recommend when it comes to getting reviews. The first is to go back to all of your happy and loyal customers and send them a personalized message asking if they would be happy to leave you a review, and that it would be really helpful if they were able to do so. Most times, if you've done a good service and that your customers are happy, then they'll want to help you. The second is, for going forward, I always like to incentivize employees to get reviews. You can offer them a cash bonus, a gift card, or a special reward. You could even have a ranking table of all your employees on who's managed to get the most reviews from their customers. And this will just remind them that they need to keep asking their customers whenever they speak to them to leave a Google review on your profile. It helps to turn it into a bit of a game. It helps create the right incentives. And of course, they'll also want to give an even better service so that they can get the good reviews. And that's it. That's quite a simple process to get your business ranking up here in the top of the map pack. On to step number 5. If you've made it this far, you're doing a great job and you'll be rewarded for all of your efforts by Google. Step number 5 is creating blog content. So why is this important? Surely we've already created landing pages for our main keywords. Why would we need to go after blog and informational content? Well, informational content can be really useful. There are 2 main benefits. The first is it helps Google understand your website, what it's about, and your expertise on the subject. The second is it can also be used to attract customers. Let me explain. Not every customer is searching on Google for a solution. Often they're trying to find out more information about problems that they're having. From a marketing perspective, we say that they are higher up the buying funnel. So if we're able to get potential customers on our website before they realize they need the solution that we provide, we can either capture their details during that point, help them understand that they might need our solution, or if we're getting really clever, eventually we can start using things like meta ads to retarget them on Facebook and using our meta pixel. So how many articles should we be writing? What should we write about? Well, the first thing is we want to understand how many articles our competitors have written. So go back to your competitor research notes from step 2, look at how many pages they have and how many of those pages are informational blog articles. We'll want to write about the same amount, but let's try and go a little bit further and write even more, maybe say 10 to 20% more. In terms of what we should write about, well, we can write about exactly what our competitors have been writing about, but you can also revisit step 1 to understand what informational keywords there were in your niche. When you're doing this, remember, if you can, use a correlational tool like Surfer SEO, and if not, then just remember the best practices of a keyword in the title of your page, a keyword in the main heading, in the first 100 words, in the URL, and 1 to 2 times for every 200 words that you write. Now, it can seem very overwhelming if you have to write lots and lots of blog articles. What I'd recommend is breaking this down into a monthly target. So instead of having to write, say, 20 articles in month 1, what you can do is split that over 6 months and maybe write 3 to 4 articles per month. That'll help it be a lot more manageable. But if we do have the option, I always prefer to batch create all the content up front. That's because the sooner we get that on the website, the sooner that Google is going to discover those articles and going to start sending us traffic. Another option might be to work with a freelance writer or a content creation agency. Now, we've done a lot of foundational work here, but step number 6 is what is really going to drive the increase in rankings for our website. These are backlinks, and you can think about them as the fuel to our fire. Backlinks are links coming from other websites to our websites, and there are many different types, and I'm going to explain exactly how many you need to build, what type, and how to do it. Now, there are many types of backlink, but I've tried to simplify it with something that I came up with called the link building pyramid. So you can see here my post on LinkedIn. If you look at the bottom, that is our starting point. That is something called foundational links. These are the type of links that any normal business should expect to have. They are links from our social profiles. So you want to go ahead and set up all of the different social profiles, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, also some of the less known ones, maybe Reddit, Pinterest, and make sure that all the profiles have a link back to your website. The next is directories. So even if you don't have a physical location, it's worth getting directory listings because this, again, is just another foundational link. They're very cheap, easy, and quick to build, so it's just worth doing. Once we've got those out the way, it starts to get a bit more fun. We go on to the next tier, which is relevancy. Here we build relevancy by getting posts on other people's websites that include a link back to ours. These are called guest posts. And in most cases, we'll have to pay the website owner to post that on their website with a link back to us. You can expect to pay anywhere between $100 and $400 per post on the quality of the link and the website that it's linking from. The good thing about this is that we can usually control the topic that we have. So we'll want to make sure that the topic of the post is really, really relevant to what we're providing as a business. The second strategy that we can use here is something called link insertions. This is where we go to an existing post on somebody's website and we try and get a link within that post. Again, we usually have to pay for them to insert that link. Finally, in the top tier, this is what I call the authority tier. And this is where things truly do get really exciting. These types of links are the best links from major media websites, and we achieve this by doing PR activities. These are digital PR and journalist requests. Journalist requests are when a journalist posts something, say for example on X, where they're looking for a source or some sort of insight to add to one of their stories. If we respond to those and we add valuable insights that they can use, then they will quote us in the story, and oftentimes they'll include a link back to our website. This is a really great way to build some top quality links. But the thing about journalist requests are there are only a certain amount of them available. So if we're really looking to grow our link profile and scale up our link building efforts, then digital PR is really the strategy that we want to be following. Digital PR is where we're sending out interesting insights, data, or advice to journalists that they can use as the basis of an article. Now, the reason that this works is because journalists have very high targets in terms of what they need to write. Maybe they've got to write like 8 articles per day. So if we can send them something that is interesting and useful that they can turn into an article, well, they're going to be grateful for that. And as a return, they'll credit us as the source and include a link at the same time. And that is how we get featured on major media websites such as Forbes, USA Today, and the New York Post. Now, this is our bread and butter as a company. We do link building, and specifically we do digital PR link building. So I just want to show you an example of a campaign that brings this strategy to life. So there was a client with us, they ordered 10 links. We delivered 24 because their campaign went, and they got links from some of the UK's media websites. The Mirror, which is a DR90, The Sun, another DR90, Express, Wales Online, Daily Star, Daily Record. So these are all really massive links that they were getting here. So what did we do to do that? Well, they were a plumbing retailer, and we came up with a campaign that used their spokesperson and gave advice on how to avoid mold within your bathroom. So we came up with this because we'd researched all the types of topics that journalists write about, and we noticed that the year prior, this was a talked about topic. So we were able to put our own spin on it, add in a really relevant expert, and send it out to journalists, and they loved it. Now, the number one question I get from customers is, how many links do I need to build? Well, what we can do is go back to our competitor research and we can look at how many links our top competitors have. We'll want to use that as a benchmark for us to achieve and then beat. So if we go back to the example website we looked at earlier, we can see they have 40 links, which might seem like a lot of links, but it's actually quite achievable. Once we break it down, we can see what types of links they have. I would go ahead and estimate that there are a lot of links in here that are just not that relevant. You can see that there are all sorts of random websites that have just scraped the web and they've just got a link back from this very spammy website. So we can usually imagine that anywhere between 25 and 30% of those links are not so great. So let's say that they've got 300 links that we need to get. Well, a lot of those will be foundational links, such as social media profiles and links from directories. So say that makes up another 100, then the rest will likely be, then we can eliminate anything that's under DR30, because really those types of websites, they don't drive a lot of power. So you can see that brings that down to 170 links. So again, if we take out all the spammy ones from that, maybe there's about 100 links that we might need to build for this website. We can go ahead and do an analysis to see, okay, what sort of DR ranges do they have? How many links do we need to build with each DR range? And then work back from there, how many guest posts and link insertions we might need to get, and how many links from the press we might need to get. So if that does seem a bit confusing, any potential client that we take on, we do a free audit. So just get in touch with our team and we are more than happy to do an audit, come up with a link building plan for free, no obligation. You don't have to use us. You understand the types of links that you need to build, how many you need to build, and if you were to follow a link building plan with us, how much that would actually cost. So there you have it, all 6 steps of the SEO process. It's worth noting that SEO can be a long-term process. Don't expect to see results in the first few days. If you think about it, it's going to take a while to do all of that work that we've just gone through, to create the pages, build the backlinks, and then once we've created it, we actually need to wait for Google to crawl and discover all of that content and backlinks. And then after that, there's still going to be a delay for the rankings to take effect. So it's going to take several months of hard work and then several months of waiting to start seeing our results. But the wait, I promise you, is worth it, because if you can be consistent with your effort, you'll end up getting consistent results and consistent leads and sales coming through your website. One final parting bit of advice would be to come up with a plan of action. You don't have to do it all in week 1. You can break it down into much more manageable chunks. For example, each month, how many articles are you going to write? How many links are you going to build? How many reviews are you going to try and get on your Google My Business profile? Doing that will make it easier for you to hit your SEO goals, and it will make the workload much more manageable. So there you have it, everything you need. If at any point you want some experts to handle it for you, just get in touch with me and my team, and we're more than happy to do it. Just click the link in the description. Thanks for listening.